There is a version of your cockatoo you've never met, not because they're hiding it from you, because nobody ever told you how to unlock it. You feed them, you house them, you love them, and your cockatoo is fine. They eat their food and sit on their perch and do the same things they did yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that. But somewhere inside that bird, behind the routine, beneath the surface level contentment, there are things they crave so deeply that their entire body changes when they finally receive them. Wings spread, crest explodes upward, eyes pin. Sounds you've never heard come pouring out of a bird you thought you knew completely. And the tragedy isn't that these things are expensive or complicated or hard to provide. The tragedy is that every single one of them is simple, and you just never knew to offer it. 6 things your cockatoo has been quietly wanting every day of their life with you. The last one will be the loudest thing you've ever been asked to do for a bird. And it might be the most important. Subscribe if your cockatoo deserves more than just fine. Let's start with the one that will shock you the most when you see what it does to them. Rain. Picture this. You hold your cockatoo near a lukewarm mist from a spray bottle, or you set them on a perch inside the shower where the water just barely reaches them as a soft, warm drizzle. And something happens that you have never seen before. Their wings extend, fully, both sides, stretched out as wide as their body allows. Their crest lifts, not in alarm, not in curiosity, in something that can only be described as ecstasy. They begin to move, swaying, bouncing, vocalizing in tones you didn't know they had. Their entire body opens to the water like it's the first real thing they've felt in months. In the wild, cockatoos don't avoid rainstorms. They fly into them. They seek them deliberately. Flocks have been documented spreading their wings in downpours and hanging upside down from branches in what researchers describe as the most visibly joyful behavior the species displays. Rain is not something cockatoos tolerate. It is one of the purest pleasures their biology is built to experience, and most owners have never offered it. Because somewhere along the way, someone said birds don't like water, or they misted their cockatoo once with a cold spray bottle and the bird recoiled, and they never tried again. Temperature is everything. Lukewarm, body temperature, the way rain feels in a tropical canopy warmed by humid air. Cold water is a shock. Warm water is a homecoming. Try it once, just once, and watch what your cockatoo has been keeping inside for however many years they've lived without it. Destruction. Your cockatoo has the strongest bite force relative to body size of any parrot species on Earth. Their beak was not designed to pick up pellets and ring bells. It was designed to splinter bark, crack hardwood, peel branches down to the white pulp underneath, and leave a trail of wreckage across the canopy floor. Destruction is not misbehavior in a cockatoo. It is their craft. It is the physical act their body was most precisely engineered to perform. And most captive cockatoos spend their lives surrounded by indestructible acrylic toys that their beak bounces off of without satisfaction, like handing a carpenter a plastic hammer and wondering why they seem restless. Give them something that breaks. A fresh block of untreated pine, a woven palm leaf bundle tied to the cage bars, a phone book, a cardboard box. Something they can grip and tear and reduce to splinters on the cage floor in 30 minutes. And then watch their body language while they do it. The focus, the intensity, the grinding satisfaction of beak meeting material that yields. That is not a bird being destructive. That is a bird being exactly what they are. The sound of splintering wood underneath a cockatoo's beak is the sound of a need being met that no pellet, no seed, and no plastic toy has ever touched. Give them something to destroy every single day. Budget for it the way you budget for food. Because to a cockatoo, it is food, just not for the body. Warmth in a bowl. When a cockatoo is a chick, blind, featherless, entirely dependent, every meal arrives the same way. Beak to beak from a parent, at body temperature, warm, soft, delivered with contact and closeness and heat. That thermal memory never leaves their brain. It is encoded at the deepest level of their neurology, beneath learning, beneath experience, in the place where comfort is defined before the bird even opens its eyes for the first time. When you serve your cockatoo cold pellets or room temperature vegetables straight from a cutting board, they eat because they're hungry. When you serve them a bowl of cooked sweet potato, warm grain mash, or steamed squash at genuine body temperature, Not hot, not scalding. The warmth of skin. Something different happens. They don't just eat, they slow down. They make soft sounds between bites. Their body relaxes around the bowl in a way it never does with dry food. You're not watching a bird eat a meal. You're watching a neurological comfort pathway activate that has been dormant since the last time someone fed them warmth. Cockatoos who receive warm food daily demonstrate measurably lower stress behaviors. They vocalize more softly. They bond more readily with the person who brings the bowl. Not because warm food is nutritionally different, because it is emotionally different. You are not just the person who feeds them. You become the person who feeds them the way their first memory says food is supposed to feel. Movement. Right now, your cockatoo is in one room. You are about to walk into another, and the moment you cross that threshold, something fires inside their brain that you will hear 3 seconds later as a scream. You call it contact calling. You've tried to train it away. You've tried ignoring it. You've tried calling back from the other room, and it doesn't help. Because the call isn't really about sound. It's about movement. In the wild, cockatoos move as a flock, not some of the time, all of the time. When the flock shifts from one tree to another, every bird goes. No one is left behind in one spot while the rest of the flock drifts through the forest. The concept of staying in place while your flock moves away from you does not exist in their evolutionary programming. Every time you leave the room, your cockatoo experiences a micro-separation that their instincts cannot rationalize away. They know you're in the house. They can hear you. It doesn't matter. The flock moved and they didn't move with it. The solution is so simple it almost feels like it can't be enough. Bring them with you. Carry them on your hand from the kitchen to the living room. Move a portable perch into whatever space you're occupying. Let them exist in the same room where life is happening, not watching you leave through a doorway, but arriving with you on the other side. The screaming won't stop because you trained it away. It'll stop because the reason for it no longer exists. The flock moved, and this time, they moved with it. The spot. Your cockatoo has a place on their body, one precise location, where your finger produces something close to rapture. It might be behind the crest where the feathers meet the bare skin of the nape. It might be along the lower jaw where the feather tracks converge. It might be directly over the ear coverts where the tiniest, softest feathers grow. You may already know where it is. You've seen what happens when you find it. The eyes close, not halfway, fully. The beak begins to grind, that low, rhythmic, crackling sound that means a cockatoo has left the room mentally and gone somewhere deep inside their own body. The muscles surrender, the head drops. The weight shifts entirely onto your hand because they've stopped holding themselves up. They trust you that completely. But here's what almost no owner knows. The difference between a cockatoo who receives this when they beg for it and a cockatoo who receives it without asking is the difference between being fed and being thought of. In wild flocks, unsolicited allopreening, grooming offered freely, without a request, ranks as the highest social gesture one bird can give another. It communicates something no solicited grooming can. I wasn't waiting for you to need me. I was already thinking about your comfort. Walk up to your cockatoo once a day, unprompted. When they haven't asked, when they're just sitting there existing, and offer that spot. Don't wait for the head tilt. Don't wait for the beg. Just give it, and watch what changes in their eyes when they realize you came to them first. That look is not gratitude. It's recognition. My flock thinks about me when I'm not asking them to. The volume. This is the one most people will resist. Because everything you've been taught about living with a cockatoo tells you to stay calm. Speak softly. Don't reinforce the screaming. Keep your energy low and measured and controlled. And for managing behavior, that advice has its place. But for making your cockatoo feel alive, truly, electrically, joyously alive, it is the opposite of what they need. Cockatoos are the most theatrically emotional parrot species on the planet. In the wild, every morning begins with a reunion. The flock erupts. Calls explode across the canopy. Birds scream and dance and display and flap and carry on as if they haven't seen each other in years. Because in their world, surviving the night is not guaranteed. Every dawn is proof that the flock made it, and they celebrate it, loudly, fully, without a single ounce of restraint. Your cockatoo lives in a house where the most exciting greeting they receive is a quiet, "Hey buddy," from someone holding a coffee cup. Their brain is wired for a standing ovation every morning, and they're getting a polite nod. So when they scream, when they dance on their perch, when they throw their crest up and spread their wings and make sounds that rattle the walls, they're not misbehaving. They're performing the opening act of a celebration and waiting for the audience to join in. Once a day, match them. When they get loud back. When they crest up, throw your arms out. When they dance, move your body. Let your voice climb to a place it doesn't normally go, and watch what happens to your cockatoo when they realize, maybe for the first time, that their human finally showed up at full volume. The sound they make in that moment is different from every other sound they've ever made in your home. That sound is not noise. That is a cockatoo who just discovered their flock is actually alive. Your cockatoo isn't broken, and they aren't bored, and they aren't difficult. They are a creature built for rainstorms and splintered wood and warm food and moving flocks and unsolicited tenderness and celebration so loud the whole canopy hears it. And they've been living in a quiet house with plastic toys and cold pellets, waiting for someone to figure out that what they wanted was never complicated. It was just never offered. Now it is. Starting today. Starting with whichever one made your chest tighten just now. Give them that one first. Subscribe and come back. Because your cockatoo still has things they want you to know.